Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahuah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. And Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters, to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube Torah portion live streams. We are on week 14, Vaera, and I appeared, and this consists of Exodus 6:2 through 9:35, and we're getting into the interactions with Moshe, Aharon, and Pharaoh and his magicians, and some of the plagues. And we're going to be knee deep in it today. So today we're going to be not only reading the Torah portion out of the Sefer for those chapters and verses, but we're going to be cross-referencing with the book of Yashar, which really expounds on some of these plagues, as well as some interesting things we're going to find in the Targums this week as well. Really blessed to research those. So I pray that this is a blessing for you. Most importantly, I pray that it's a blessing for the Most High, that even just a few people get together and want to study His Torah in this very late hour, and that earnestly want to grow and learn from the wondrous things that are written in His Torah. I know I can't speak for Him, but I can only imagine that He's pleased with a people that are earnestly wanting to be sharpened by His Word. So, that being said, quick prayer, and we will get right into it. So, let's bow our hearts. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be Thy name. Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen and amen. Okay, so let's get right into it, and we're going to start with Exodus 6, Exodus 6:2, and here we go. Exodus 6:2, and Elohim spoke unto Moshe and said unto him, I am Yahuah, Yod-He-Vav-He, and I appeared unto El Avraham, unto El Yitzchak, and unto El Yaakov, by El Shaddai, right? This is like God Almighty. In English, this is like, God Almighty. But by my name Yahuah was I not known to them. And I've cross-referenced this in the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Targums, and that's exactly what it says. It says His name Yahuah was not revealed to them. For the longest time, I'm like, I don't know. Even Alan Horvath had a really good point on this, if this was a question mark instead of a period, it'd be like, was I not known to them? But it's just not there. And so I really, as the text says, His name was not revealed until Moshe's time. But let's go back actually to last week really quick, just 2 verses, and I want to reinforce the importance of understanding His name. Exodus 3:14, and Elohim said unto El Moshe, Ahaya Asher Ahaya, I am that I am. And He said, thus shall you say unto the children of Yisrael, Ahaya, I am, has sent me unto you. So a lot of people are teaching that they just stop right here and just say, His name is Ahaya Asher Ahaya, right? It's actually still a title. We have to keep reading. Just one more verse. Exodus 3:15, and Elohim said, moreover unto El Moshe, thus shall you say unto the children of Yisrael, Yahuah Elohai of your fathers, the Elohai of Avraham, the Elohai of Yitzchak, and the Elohai of Yaakov, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my mention unto all generations. And I fully believe that we are included in this, what's called unto all generations. So praise be to Yah that he has revealed his name, especially in these end times. So let's keep going. We're going to read verses 4 through 8. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groanings of the children of Yasharel, whom the Mitzrayim keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Yasharel, I am Yahuah, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Mitzrayim, and will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, and with great judgments, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you Elohim, and ye shall know that I am Yahuah Elohim, which brings you out from under the burdens of the Mitzrayim. And I will bring you into the land concerning which I did swear to give to Avraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, and I will give you for an heritage. I am Yahuah. So, one thing we have to remember is there's so many similarities. First of all, I didn't, give my disclaimer. I don't claim to be a Torah teacher. Even though I grew up in Judaism, in Judaism you learn more of the rabbinic stuff, so it's almost like I had to unlearn everything I learned. Anyways, point being is I am a student of the Torah, and basically what I'm doing here is each week I like to dig in, compare the Torah with like the books of Jasher and Jubilees, and of now the Targums, the Septuagint, and just try to glean everything possibly can from it. And I'm basically sharing my study with you. I'm not trying to be some, portray myself to be some like wise Torah teacher that knows it all. I'm not even close. But I just, just want to share my studies with you, and hopefully we can grow together. So point being, it says he brought them out of Egypt, out of bondage, or was going to bring them out of bondage into the land of their inheritance. That's his promise that he made to their fathers. And that's really the same promise as it stands for us right now. We are in Egypt right now in a different form of bondage. They're not slave laboring us like they did in thousands of years ago, but they've gotten a lot smarter with their tactics now. They have us in bondage, or at least they tried to. Yahuah has been pulling us out of bondage, like a mental bondage with all the things they spray in the air, with the stuff they put in the water, the fake medical system that's only full of band-aids instead of actually treating the core, the actually curing things, the horrific educational system. The tax rates for some people. If you're not a tax tap dancer, then you don't, there's some years I paid like 40% tax rate. It's just, that's like robbery, that is slavery. And of course, they had most of us, watching commercials and listening to commercials that we had to always have the latest car and the newest things, and to put ourselves in debt, which is slavery. So anyways, there's many different forms of slavery. Plus then you get into the whole thing with the social securities and birth certificates. And that's just we could talk about that for a couple of hours. But, so here we are once again in bondage. Although we have our freedom in Messiah Yahusha, we're still sojourners in this land, and we're still not living in the freedom of our land, of our inheritance, which we are still waiting for. And let us not forget the lessons learned from the first Exodus about the people, not hearkening to his word, grumbling, lusting after this, lusting after that. And to know that, they were saved out of Egypt by the blood of the Lamb and were brought into the wilderness of the people to be tested. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you we are saved by the blood of the Lamb, and we've been taken out into the wilderness of the people, and we are being tested right now. And I think a lot of us believe that a lot more testing is coming. So, really, brothers and sisters, it is time to gird up your loins, per se, and just really disconnect from the world. I don't know how else to say it. and I know that some of us are tempted to really just sit around and like watch the news and stuff because we want to know what's going on. And there's a lot of juicy things going on in the world, as far as showing us that we're getting closer and closer to the end times. But, really, it's at the end of the day, that's all noise. It's just noise. Like at the end of the day, who cares? I think we've been awakened to know we're in the end times. And I think since we know that, like, how much time should we spend looking at what the enemy's doing? Like, oh, what's this? What's going on here? What's going on here? And I'm not going to be some hypocrite. I check the news here and there because, I want to stay abreast of what's going on. But, like, how much time are you investing in that? And, like, my time investment is probably 15, 20 minutes a day of, like, seeing what's going on in the world. And maybe that's too much. Maybe some of you are like, really? That's like 20 minutes too much. And maybe it is, but I guess maybe as having this platform, I think maybe I need to stay abreast. Anyways, I'm sitting here now and making excuses for putting time into looking into the world. All I'm saying is that the bulk of our time should be spent in His Word, meditating on His Word, or in prayer, or in sharpening with another brother and sister. Aside, of course, from the things we need to do daily. Of course, you've got jobs and things like that. But I'm just saying, in our spare time, I really think that it's time to just give Yah our all. And I don't know. I really like. I don't know about you, but when Messiah Yahusha comes back, I just want Him to look at my life and be like, yeah, you really were preparing for me coming back, weren't you? Like, yeah, you have no idea. Well, actually, you do have an idea. I just don't want to miss it. You know what I mean? I don't know about you. I just don't want to miss it. And I guess whatever you call whatever I am and what I do here, I just want to be an encourager to you to also not miss it. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be spending my time talking about the world and what the world's up to, and I'd rather be talking about His Word and how awesome the Most High is, how awesome His creation is, and how, intense His creation is, and how it's beyond what we can. His creation is beyond anything I can ever imagine. I mean, I can't even imagine how He made a tree, let alone how the grass feeds a couple 1,000-pound animal. I mean, just all of it. All of it is just so amazing. It's just beyond me. And these are the things that we should dwell on how awesome He is, and sing to Him and praise Him and glorify Him, and do what we're doing now, studying His Word and being washed by it and growing in His Word, pitching our tents with Elohim, as Brother Alan Horvath would say. So, and to know, these people were taken out of bondage and given freedom, and to know that the Torah is freedom. Okay. And Moshe spoke unto the children of Yisrael, but they hearkened not unto Moshe for anguish of the Ruach and for cruel bondage. How many of our brothers and sisters won't listen to us because, well, they're probably just distracted by the bondage? And that's exactly what happened in Moshe's time. Verse 10, And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, that he let the children of Yisrael go out of his land. And Moshe spoke before Yahuwah, saying, Behold, the children of Yisrael have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who have an uncircumcised lips? And Yahuwah spoke unto El Moshe and unto El Ahron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Yisrael, and unto Pharaoh king of Mitzrayim, to bring the children of Yisrael out of the land of Mitzrayim. And these be the heads of their fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Yisrael, Chanok, and Palu, and Chetzron, and Carmi. These be the families of Reuben. The sons of Shimon, Yemuel, and Yamin, and Ochad, and Yakin, and Sochar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite. These are the families of Shimon. These are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 in 7 years. And the sons of Gershon, Livni, and Shimei, and according to their families. And the sons of Kohath, Amram, Yitzchar, and Chevron, and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Machli and Mushi, these are the families of Levi according to their generations. And Amram took him Yocheved, his father's sister, to be his woman. And actually, I'll show you, this always bothered me because this is strictly against Torah, but it's not perfectly translated and written out here. We'll actually find in the Targums and in Jasher that Yocheved was actually his cousin. And she bore him Aharon and Moshe, and the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Yitzhar, Korach, this is the rebellious one, and Nepheg and Zikrai, and the sons of Uziel, Mishael, and Elishaphan, and Sithrai. And Aharon took him Elisheva, the daughter of Aminadav, sister of Nachshon, to be his woman, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, and Eleazar, and Ithamar. And the sons of Korach, Asir, Elkanah, Abiasaph, and these are the families of Korchai. Or maybe Korach. And Eleazar, Aharon's son, took him one of the daughters of Putiel to be his woman, and she bore him Pinechas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Leviim according to their families. These are that Aharon and Moshe, to whom Yahuwah said, bring out the children of Yashrael from the land of Mitzrayim according to their armies. These are they which spoke to Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, to bring out the children of Yashrael from Mitzrayim. These are that Moshe and Aharon. And it came to pass on the day when Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe in the land of Mitzrayim, that Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, I am Yahuwah. Speak you unto Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, all that I say unto you. And Moshe said before Yahuwah, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips. How shall Pharaoh hearken unto me? Okay, and actually, whoops, I didn't pull up the Targums. And we are here. And so let's see. Okay, so chapter 6 in the Targums. And I will bring you nigh before me to be a people, and I will be an Elohim unto you, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who hath led you forth from the hard service of the Mizrahi. And I will bring you into the land which I have covenanted by my word to give unto Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for an inheritance. I am Yahuwah. And Moshe spake according to this to the sons of Yashrael, but they received not from Moshe through anxiety of spirit and from the strange and hard service which was upon their hands. And another passage I wanted to read, and the sons of Kohath, let's see, where are they? Yeah. And the sons of Kohath, Amram, and Yitzchar, and Hebron, and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath, a saint, 133 years. He lived to see Phinehas. Now this is interesting here. Who is Elijah, the great priest, who is to be sent to the captivity of Yashrael at the end of days. That's interesting. And the sons of Merari, Mahali, and Mushi, these are the race of the Levi according to their generations. And Amram took Yocheved, his cousin, to wife. That's lawful, completely lawful. And she bare him Aharon and Moshe. And anyways, so I just wanted to read that part. Because again, it always bothered me that, just anyways. Okay, so now we're on Exodus 7. Exodus 7. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, see, I have made you an Elohim to Pharaoh. He's like, I made you like a god to Pharaoh. And Aharon, your brother, shall be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you. And Aharon, your brother, shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Yashrael out of his hand. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Mitzrayim, and bring forth my armies and my people, the children of Yashrael, out of the land of Mitzrayim by great judgments. Right? The same thing is what we're looking at here in the future. You've got the 144,000, his army, and the great multitude, all in chapter 7 of Revelation. Same scenario. And the Mitzrayim shall know that I am Yahuwah when I stretch forth my hand upon Mitzrayim and bring out the children of Yisrael from among them. And Moshe and Aharon did as Yahuwah commanded them, so did they. And Moshe was 80 years old, he was 80, and Aharon 83 years old, 83, when he spoke unto Pharaoh. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe and unto Aharon, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then you shall say unto Aharon, Take your rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moshe and Aharon went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as Yahuwah had commanded. And Aharon cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Mitzrayim, they also did like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aharon's rod swallowed up their rods. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahuwah had said. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go. But remember, Yahuwah is the one that actually hardened Pharaoh's heart. He did it on purpose so that all this could go down. And we learned actually last week that that Yahuwah was the one that hardened the Egyptians' hearts to the children of Israel to even put this plan in their mind to put them in bondage so that he could rescue them. And it was for their own good, right? Like we've said before, a lot of the times you learn the biggest lessons and you grow the most during times of persecution, trial by fire. Get you in unto Pharaoh in the morning, lo, he goes out into the water, and you shall stand by the river's brink against he come. And the rod which was turned to a serpent shall you take in your hand. And you shall say unto him, Yahuah Elohim of the Ivrim has sent me unto you, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto you would not hear. Thus says Yahuwah, and this you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Mitzrayim shall loathe to drink the water of the river. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, Say unto Aharon, Take your rod, and stretch out your hand upon the waters of Mitzrayim, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. And Moshe and Aharon did so as Yahuwah commanded, and he lifted up the rod, and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Mitzrayim could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians of Mitzrayim did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them as Yahuwah had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Mitzrayim dug round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled, and after that Yahuwah had smitten the river. So now let's take a look at Yashar 79, starting at verse 30. And Balaam, the son of Beor, the magician, answered the king, saying, These are none else than magicians like ourselves. Remember, Balaam, it was like the king magician and his two sons, Jannes and Yambres, were the two ones that withstood Moshe and Aharon. Now therefore send for them, and let them come, and we will try them. And the king did so. And in the morning Pharaoh sent for Moshe and Aharon to come before the king, and they took the rod of Elohim, and came to the king, and spoke to him, saying, Thus says Yahuah Elohim of the Hebrews, Send my people, that they may serve me. And the king said to them, But who will believe you that you are the messengers of Elohim, that you come to me by his order? Now therefore give me a wonder or a sign in this matter, and then the words which you speak will be believed. Now Aharon hastened and threw the rod out of his hand before Pharaoh and before his servants, and the rod turned into a serpent. And the sorcerers saw this, and they cast each man his rod upon the ground, and they became serpents. And the serpent of Aharon's rod lifted up its head and opened its mouth to swallow the rods of the magicians. And Balaam the magician answered and said, This thing has been from days of old, that a serpent should swallow his fellow, and that living things devour each other. Now therefore restore it to a rod as it were at first, and we will also restore our rods as they were at first. And if thy rod shall swallow our rods, then shall we know that the spirit of Elohim is in thee, and if not, thou art only an artificer like unto ourselves. Now Haron hasted and stretched forth his hand and caught hold of the serpent's tail, and it became a rod in his hand, and the sorcerers did like with their rods. And they got hold, and each man of the tail of a serpent, and they became rods at the first. And when they were restored to rods, the rod of Aharon swallowed up their rods. And when the king saw this thing, he ordered the book of records that related to the kings of Egypt to be brought. And they brought the book of records, the chronicles of the kings of Egypt, in which all the idols of Egypt were inscribed. Remember last week in the Targums, this is called the book of the angels. For they thought of the finding there in the name of Yahuwah, but they found it not. Well, because we found out that it was not revealed until the time of Moshe. And Pharaoh said to Moshe and Aharon, Behold, I have not found the name of your Elohim written in this book, and his name I know not. And the counselors and wise men answered the king, We have heard that the Elohim of the Hebrews is a son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. That's interesting. Because a lot of you know that my understanding at this point is that Yahuwah has been up in the heavens forever. And as Yahusha said, no man has seen Yahuwah at any time. I believe that Yahusha was the manifestation as the angel of Yahuwah in all the interactions with Abraham, with Adam, with Eve, with Cain, with Abel, all of it. And it's said here, we have heard that the Elohim of the Hebrews is a son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. And we know him as the son of Yahuwah, the king. And Pharaoh turned to Moshe and Aharon and said to them, I know not Yahuwah whom you have declared, neither will I send his people. And they answered and said to the king, Yahuah Elohim of Elohim is his name. And he proclaimed his name over us from the days of our ancestors and sent us, saying, Go to Pharaoh and say unto him, Send my people, that they may serve me. Now therefore send us, that we may take a journey for 3 days in the wilderness, and there may be sacrifice to him from the days of our going down to Egypt. He has not taken from our hands either burnt offering, oblation, or sacrifice. And if thou wilt not send us, his anger will be kindled against thee, and he will smite Egypt either with the plague or with the sword. And Pharaoh said to them, Tell me now his power and his might. And they said to him, He created the heaven and the earth, the seas and all their fishes. He formed the light, created the darkness, caused rain upon the earth, and watered it, and made the herbage and grass to sprout. He created man and beast, and the animal of the forest, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea, and by his mouth they live and die. Surely he created thee in thy mother's womb, and put into thee the breath of life, and reared thee, and placed thee upon the royal throne of Egypt. And he will take thy breath and soul from thee, and return thee to the ground whence thou wast taken. And the anger of the king was kindled at their words, and he said to them, But who amongst all the Elohim of the nations can do this? My river is mine own, and I have made it for myself. And he drove them from him, and he ordered the labor upon Yisrael to be more severe than it was yesterday and before. And Moshe and Aharon went out from the king's presence, and they saw the children of Yisrael in an evil condition, for the taskmasters had made their labor exceedingly heavy. And Moshe returned to Yahuwah and said, Why hast thou ill-treated thy people? For since I came to speak to Pharaoh, what thou didst send me for, he has exceedingly ill used the children of Yisrael. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Behold, thou wilt see that with an outstretched hand and in heavy plagues Pharaoh will send the children of Yisrael from his land. And Moshe and Aharon dwelt amongst their brethren for the children of Yisrael in Egypt. And as for the children of Yisrael, the Egyptians embittered their lives with the heavy work which they imposed upon them. Chapter 80. At the end of 2 years, so this is the book of Yashar saying 2 years passed. At the end of 2 years, Yahuwah again sent Moshe to Pharaoh to bring forth the children of Yisrael and to send them out of the land of Egypt. And Moshe went and came to the house of Pharaoh, and he spoke to him the words of Yahuwah who had sent him. But Pharaoh would not hearken to the voice of Yahuwah, and Elohim roused his might in Egypt upon Pharaoh and his subjects. And Elohim smote Pharaoh and his people with a very great and sore plagues. And Yahuwah sent by the hand of Aharon and turned all the waters of Egypt into blood with all their streams and rivers. And when an Egyptian came to drink and draw water, he looked into his pitcher, and behold, all the water was turned into blood. And when he came to drink from his cup, the water in the same cup became blood. And when a woman kneaded her dough and cooked her victuals, the appearance was turned into that of blood. All right, we're going to stop there on Yashar. Now we're going to go to the Targums, and we're going to read... Oh, where are we? All right, so we're going to read here, first paragraph. But Yahuwah said to Moshe, Wherefore art thou fearful? Behold, I have set thee a terror to Pharaoh, as if thou wast his Elohim, and Aharon thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak to Aharon that which I command thee, and Aharon thy brother shall speak to Pharaoh, that he release the sons of Yisrael from his land. But I will harden the disposition of Pharaoh's heart to multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. Nor will Pharaoh hearken to you, but I will shoot among them the arrows of death, and inflict the plagues of my mighty band upon Mizraim, and will bring out the sons of Yisrael free from among them. And Moshe and Aharon did as Yahuah commanded them, even so did they. And Moshe was the son of 80 years, and Aharon the son of 80 years, at their speaking with Pharaoh. And Yahuah spake to Moshe and Aharon, saying, When Pharaoh talketh with you, saying, Give us a miracle, thou shalt say to Aharon, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a basilisk serpent. For all the inhabitants of the earth shall hear the voice of the shriek of Mizraim when I shatter them, as all the creatures heard the shriek of the serpent when made naked at the beginning. So this is interesting. All you have to do is a quick Google search of the basilisk serpent, and this is what you come up with. And I do believe that the serpent was originally a dragon. And we talked about this in many different live streams, but I do believe that the serpent was originally a dragon, and his feet were taken away from him, and more than likely his wings at the same time. So could this have been more likely what his rod was turned into? Something like this. Maybe it wasn't, enormous, but maybe it wasn't just a little snake either. This is more like Leviathan. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. And Moshe and Aharon went in unto Pharaoh, and did as Yahuah had commanded. And Aharon threw down the rod before the sight of Pharaoh, and before the sight of his servants, and it became a basilisk. But Pharaoh called the Hachems, the Hachems, and the magicians, and they also, Jannes and Jambres, the magicians of Mizraim, did the same by their burnings of divination. They threw down each man his rod, and they became basilisks, but were forthwith changed to be that what they were at first. And the rod of Aharon swallowed up their rods, and the disposition of Pharaoh's heart was hardened, as he would not hearken to them, as Yahuah had said. So here you have a confirmation of what was written in Jasher, that also the rod swallowed up the rod. It wasn't just the basilisk swallowing up the basilisk, but the rods also swallowing up the rods. And we're also going to read this. And 7 days were completed after Yahuah had bade smitten the river, and the word of Yahuah had afterward healed the river. And Yahuah spoke to Moshe, going unto Pharaoh, and said to him, Thus saith Yahuah, Emancipate my people, that they may serve before me. But if thou refuse to set them free, behold, I will plague all thy borders with frogs, and the river shall multiply frogs. They shall ascend and come up into thy house, and into the bedchamber where thou sleepest, upon thy couch, into the house of thy servants, and upon all thy people, and into the ovens, and into the baking troughs, and upon thy body, and upon the bodies of thy people, and upon all thy servants shall the frogs have power. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go through chapter 8. We're going to read 8:1 through 8:15, and then read Jasher 86 through 9. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, Go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus says Yahuah, Let my people go, that they may serve me. And if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your borders with frogs, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, and upon your bed, and into the house of your servants, and upon your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. And the frogs shall come up both upon you, and upon your people, and upon all your servants. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying unto Aharon, Stretch forth your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, over the ponds, and cause the frogs to come up upon the land of Mitzrayim. And Aharon stretched out his hand over the waters of Mitzrayim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up the frogs upon the land of Mitzrayim. Then Pharaoh called for Moshe and Aharon, and said, Entreat Yahuah, that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto Yahuah. And Moshe said unto Pharaoh, Glory over me, when shall I entreat for you, and for your servants, and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and from your houses, that they may remain in the river only? And he said, Tomorrow. And he said, Be it according to your word, that you may know that there is none like unto Yahuah Eloheinu. And the frogs shall depart from you, and from your houses, and from your servants, and from your people, and they shall remain in the river only. And Moshe and Aharon went out from Pharaoh, and Moshe cried unto El Yahuah because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And Yahuah did according to the word of Moshe, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields, and they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, which is like rest, he hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them, as Yahuah had said. So now we're going to read Jasher 80:6-9. And Yahuah sent again and caused all the waters to bring forth frogs, and all the frogs came into the houses of all the Egyptians. And when the Egyptians drank, their bellies were filled with frogs, and they danced in their bellies as they danced when in the river. And all their drinking water and cooking water turned into frogs. Also, when they lay in their beds, their perspiration bred frogs. Notwithstanding all this, the anger of Yahuah did not turn from them, and his hand was stretched out against all the Egyptians to smite them with every heavy plague. Now remember, if those of you that know the book of Revelation, it's interesting that said that out of the mouth came forth frogs, unclean spirits that were like frogs out of the mouth of the false prophet, I think it was. But I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so now let's go back to Exodus 8:16-19. And Yahuah said unto El Moshe, say unto El Aharon, stretch out your rod and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And they did so, for Aharon stretched out his hand with his rod and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. The magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth the lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of Elohim. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahuah had said. Now we're going to read Yashar 80:10-12. And he sent and smote their dust to lice, and the lice became in Egypt to the height of 2 cubits upon the earth. The lice were also very numerous in the flesh of man and beast, and in all the inhabitants of Egypt. Also upon the king and queen Yahuah sent the lice, and it grieved Egypt exceedingly on account of the lice. Notwithstanding this, the anger of Yahuah did not turn away, and his hand was still stretched out over Egypt. Now we're going to read chapter 8:20-32. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, rise up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he comes forth to the water, and saying to him, thus says Yahuah, let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon you, and upon your servants, and upon your people, and into your houses, and the houses of the Mitzrayim shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end that you may know that I am Yahuah in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and your people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And Yahuah did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and the Septuagint says dog flies. I guess those are the ones that bite. And into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Mitzrayim. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moshe and for Aharon, and said, go ye, sacrifice unto your Elohim in the land. And Moshe said, it is not for meet for us to do so. For shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Mitzrayim to Yahuah Eloheinu? Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Mitzrayim before their eyes, and will they not stone us? And what this means is, when Moshe is saying, he's like, I guess the Egyptians worship 2 animals. They worship the cow and the sheep. And, go figure, right? I mean, it makes sense, at least the ox, because as soon as the Israelites came into the wilderness and Moshe was gone for 40 days, what do they make? They made an idol of a calf. Where did they learn that from? They learned it from Egypt. And so apparently the Egyptians did not sacrifice nor eat the flesh of cows. And the Septuagint, the Targum says sheep. So maybe it's both. Maybe it's just calves. I'm not sure. So Moshe's like, why do you want us to sacrifice here in the land? It's a law in Egypt not to do this. He's like, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Mitzrayim before their eyes, and will they not stone us? Right? Because they'd be doing against the law of Egypt. So we will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahuah Eloheinu, as he shall command us. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to Yahuah Elohika in the wilderness, only you shall not go very far away. Entreat for me. And Moshe said, Behold, I go out from you, and I will entreat El Yahuah that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more, in not letting the people go to sacrifice to Yahuah. And Moshe went out from Pharaoh, and entreated Yahuah. And Yahuah did according to the word of Moshe, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. And Pharaoh hardened his heart also at this time also, neither would he let the people go. So now we're going to read Yashar 80:13-23. And Yahuah sent all kinds of beasts into the field of Egypt, and they came and destroyed all Egypt, man and beast, and trees, and all things that were in Egypt. And Yahuah sent fiery serpents, scorpions, mice, weasels, toads, together with other creeping in the dust, flies, hornets, fleas, bugs, and gnats, each swarm according to its kind. So here in Yashar and in the Targums, it actually says there was all manner of beasts, and it wasn't just flies and just lice. And all reptiles and winged animals according to their kind came to Egypt and grieved the Egyptians exceedingly. And the fleas and flies came into the eyes and ears of the Egyptians. And the hornet came upon them and drove them away, and they removed from it into their inner rooms, and it pursued them. And when the Egyptians hid themselves on account of the swarm of the animals, they locked their doors after them. And Elohim ordered the Sulanuth, which was in the sea, to come up and go into Egypt. And she had long arms, 10 cubits in length, the cubit of a man. And she went upon the roofs and uncovered the raftering and flooring and cut them, and stretched forth her arm into the house, and removed the lock and the bolt, and opened the houses of Egypt. And afterward came the swarm of animals into the houses of Egypt, and the swarm of animals destroyed the Egyptians, and it grieved them exceedingly. Notwithstanding this, the anger of Yahuah did not turn away from the Egyptians, and his hand was yet stretched forth against them. And so, and that actually makes a little bit more sense about the beast, and I'll show you why. Here's a here's a chart of the different plagues that you can see in Exodus, and you can actually see here in Revelation. What's interesting is the gnats and flies. The gnats and flies are not mentioned in Revelation, but in Revelation it does say that there will be destruction by the beasts of the earth. And it says 4 sore judgments against Jerusalem, which one of them is the beasts of the earth. So it may be that the book of Yashar and the Targums are actually correct in what they've said here. And pestilence, livestock disease, well, that kind of assumed when you have other plagues and whatnot. So what I'm saying is you have almost a near perfect image of what happened in the Exodus and what's going to happen in Revelation. And everything else lines up, of course. Water turning into blood, the frogs, the boils, the hail and lightning, the locusts, the darkness, the death by the firstborn. So anyways, some interesting stuff there. And so we're going to read the Targums a little bit. We're going to read part of paragraph 1. And Yahuah said to Moshe, lift up thy hand with thy rod over the rivers, over the trenches, and over the canals, and I will bring up the frogs upon the land of Mitzrayim. And Aharon lifted up his hand over the waters of Mitzrayim, and the plague of frogs came up and covered the land of Mitzrayim. But Moshe himself did not smite the waters, either with the blood or with the frogs, because through them, the waters of the Nile, he had found safety the time that his mother laid him in the river. And the astrologers did likewise by their burnings, and brought up frogs upon the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and unto Aharon, saying, pray before Yahuah, that he may remove the frogs from me and from my people. And let's see, we'll just stop there actually. And so we're going to read paragraph 2. And Yahuah said to Moshe, speak unto Aharon, lift up thy rod and smite the dust of the earth, and it shall become venomous insects in all the land of Mitzrayim. But it shall not be by thee that the ground shall be smitten, because therein for thee was safety when thou hast slain the Mitzrite and received him. And they did so. And Aharon lifted up his hand with his rod and smote the dust of the ground, and it became a plague of venomous insects upon the flesh of men and of cattle. And all the dust of the earth was changed to become insects in the land of Mitzrayim. And the astrologers wrought with their burnings to bring forth insects, but were not able. And the plague of insects prevailed upon men and upon cattle. And the astrologers said to Pharaoh, "This is not by the power or strength of Moshe and Aharon, but this is the plague sent from before Yahuah." Yet the design of Pharaoh's heart was strengthened, and he would not hearken to them, as Yahuah had said. And we're going to read this paragraph as well. And Yahuah spake to Moshe, and again, this is the Targums, "Arise in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Behold, he goeth forth to observe divinations at the water as a magician. And thou shalt say to him, Thus saith Yahuah, Emancipate my people, that they may worship before me. But if thou wilt not set my people free, behold, I will stir up among thee and thy servants and thy people and thy house a mixed multitude of wild beasts." So again, this confirms, the Targums confirm Yashar. "And the houses of the Mizrahi shall be filled with swarms of wild beasts, and they shall be upon the land also. And I will do wonders that day in the land of Goshen, wherein my people dwell, that there are no swarms of wild beasts shall be, that thou mayest know that I, Yahuah, am the ruler in the midst of the land. And I will appoint redemption for my people, and upon my people I will lay the plague. Tomorrow this sign shall be." And Yahuah did so, and sent the mixed multitude of wild beasts in strength to the house of Pharaoh and to the house of his servants in all the land of Mitzrayim. The inhabitants of the land were devastated from the swarm of wild beasts. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, "Go, worship with festival sacrifices before Yahuah your Elohim in this land." But Moshe said, "It will not be right to do so, because we shall take sheep, which are the abomination of the Mizrahi, and offer them before Yahuah our Elohim. Behold, if we offer the abomination of the Mizrahi before them, they would stone us with stones as an act of justice. We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness to offer festival sacrifices to our Elohim, as he has bidden us." And okay, that's done with 8. So let's go on to 9. Let's go to 9, and we're going to read 9, 1 through 7. "Then Yahuah said unto El Moshe, Go unto Pharaoh, and tell him, Thus says Yahuah Elohai of the Ivrim, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go, and will hold them still, behold, the hand of Yahuah is upon your cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous pestilence. Yahuah shall sever between the cattle of Yashrael and the cattle of Mizraim, and there shall nothing die of all that is in the children of Yashrael's. And Yahuah appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow Yahuah shall do this thing in the land. And Yahuah did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Mitzrayim died. But of the cattle of the children of Yashrael died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Yashrael dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. So now we're going to read Jasher 80, 26 through 20, or I'm sorry, 24 through 26. And Elohim sent the pestilence, and the pestilence pervaded Egypt, in the horses and asses and the camels and herds of oxen and sheep and in man. And when the Egyptians rose up early in the morning to take their cattle pasture, they found all their cattle dead. And there remained of the cattle of the Egyptians only 1 in 10, and of the cattle belonging to Yashrael and Goshen, not one died. Okay, now we're going to go back to Exodus. We're going to read 9, 8 through 12. And Yahuah said unto El Moshe and unto El Aharon, Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moshe sprinkle it toward the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh, and it shall become small dust in the land of Mizraim, and it shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Mizraim. And they took the ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moshe sprinkled it up toward the heavens, and it became a boil, breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast. And all the magicians could not stand before Moshe because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Mizraim. And Yahuah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and hearkened not unto them, as Yahuah had spoken unto Moshe. So now Jasher 80, 27 through 29. And Elohim sent a burning inflammation in the flesh of the Egyptians, which burst their skins, and it became a severe itch in all the Egyptians, from the soles of their feet to the crowns of their head. This sounds like what happened to Job. And many boils were in their flesh, that their flesh wasted away until they became rotten and putrid. Remember, he had like worms in his flesh and stuff. Notwithstanding this, the anger of Yahuah did not turn away, and his hand was stretched out over all Egypt. And now we're going to read Exodus 9:13 through the end. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus says Yahuah Elohim of the Ivrim, let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon your heart and upon your servants and upon your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite you and your people with pestilence, and you shall be cut off from the earth. And in very deed for this cause I have raised you up, for to show in you my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. As yet exalt you yourself against my people, that you will not let them go? Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Mitzrayim since the foundation thereof, even until now. Send therefore now, and gather your cattle, and all that you have in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field, and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. So he even warns them, like, if you want to, you can protect yourself. He that feared the word of Yahuwah among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. And he that regarded not the word of Yahuwah left his servants and his cattle in the field. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, stretch forth your hand toward the heavens, that there may be hail in all the land of Mitzrayim, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe stretched forth his rod toward the heavens, and Yahuwah sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground. You guys see this a lot in Revelation too. And Yahuwah rained hail upon the land of Mizraim. So there was hail and fire mingled with hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Mizraim since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Mizraim, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail smote every herb of the field, and broke every every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Yashrael were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moshe and Aharon, and said unto them, I have sinned this time. Yahuwah is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Entreat El Yahuwah, for it is enough that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. And Moshe said unto him, as soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto El Yahuwah, and the thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that you may know that the earth is Yahuwah's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not fear Yahuah Elohim. And the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was bold. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. And Moshe went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread abroad his hands unto El Yahuwah, and the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured out upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more, and hardened his heart, and he and his servants. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Yashrael go, as Yahuwah had spoken by Moshe. So now we're going to read Yashar chapter 80, verses 30 through 40. And Yahuwah sent a very heavy hail, which smote their vines, and broke their fruit trees, and dried them up, that they fell upon them. Also every green herb became dry and perished, for a mingling fire descended amidst the hail. Therefore the hail and the fire consumed all things. Also men and beasts that were found abroad perished of the flames of fire and of the hail, and all the young lions were exhausted. And Yahuwah sent and brought numerous locusts into Egypt, the chasel, the salom, the chargol, the chagol, locusts each of its kind, which devoured all that hail had left remaining. Actually, we're not at the locusts yet. No, so we're going to stop there. Yeah, I don't know why I had those notes. I'm going to change that. So 32, so I don't make that mistake next year. Okay, so now we're going to read the Targums. And we're going to look at paragraph 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to start at, behold at this time. Behold, at this time, tomorrow, I will cause to come down from the treasures of heaven a mighty hail, like that of which have never been seen in Mitzrayim since the day when men were settled upon it until now. But now send, gather together thy flocks, and all that thou hast in the field, for upon all men and all cattle that are found in the field, and not gathered together within the house, with the hail come down, and they will die. Job, who reverenced the word of Yahuwah among the servants of Pharaoh, gathered together his servants and his flocks within the house. But Balaam, who did not set his heart upon the word of Yahuwah, left his servants and his flocks in the field. Eek. Anyways. Okay. So, as a lot of you know, a lot of similarities of the plagues that happen in the book of Revelation, and there's so many, coincidences, not coincidences, so many matched patterns there. And I do believe that we're going to be here through the plagues, but He's going to protect us and then bring us out. I think the whole pattern is really going to repeat all the way. So, in general, the persecutions from the Egyptians to the Israelites were necessary for the rescue. Honestly, how much more in our time? So as things continue to get harder and harder, just remember that His rescue is on the horizon, and it's this generation. I really fully believe that we are the generation that will see that. So be strong and of good courage. Rak chazak amatz. Be strong and of good courage, and be courageous. So, brothers and sisters, I pray that maybe you picked up something new. Nevertheless, I pray that the Most High was blessed, that His people wanted to come together and to read His Word and to study it and to want to better understand the character of the Most High and to better understand the commands He's given us, the children of Yisrael, for all ages. So, let's pray. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah, we bless You and we say Shabbat Shalom to You. We thank You for allowing us to gather together and to read Your Word on this most set-apart day. And we just ask that You bless our Shabbats, that we may have peace in our homes, and that we may just have that connection with You. And we just want to hear from You, Yahuwah. We just want to do what's pleasing in Your sight. We want to walk as Your Son walked, Messiah Yahusha. Help us, strengthen us, O Yahuwah. Keep our feet straight on this path, that we may not deviate to the left or to the right. And we just love You, bless You, and again, Shabbat Shalom. Amen and Amen. Brothers and sisters, let's finish with the Song of Moshe. Shabbat Shalom.
I sing to Yahuwah, for He is highly exalted. The horse and its rider He has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and He has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise Him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt Him. Yahuwah is a man of battle, Yahuwah is His name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and His chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of Your excellence, You pulled down those who rose up against You. You sent forth Your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of Your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall, the depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil, my being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You blew with your wind, the sea covered them, they sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahuah, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in Kodeshah, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your kindness, you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength, you guided them to your Kodesh dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguish gripped the inhabitants of Pelasheth. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling grips them, all the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them by the greatness of your arm. They are as silent as a stone. Until your people pass over, O Yahuwah. Until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahuwah, which you have made for your own dwelling, the Mikdash, O Yahuwah, which your hands have prepared. Yahuwah reigns forever and ever.